Good?
Yes. I've
All
been told
right.
that we're supposed to be recording something for this. What were you saying?
Hi, this is Dee,
Hi, I'm Ray.
and we are Herpetology of the Apocalypse.
Mhm.
Today we have a bunch of preparatory material that we didn't get to last time.
Yes.
By special request, we're going to go on major side roads. Yes.
We said we were going to do homework last time. We did the homework.
We did the homework.
Oh,
And
no.
this stuff the material that we're covering, I think we covered a lot of it, but it's funny rather than necessarily with lots of references. So we should end up being okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? How's but?
You go first.
Oh God. All right. I am going to be talking about alchemy. What are you going to be talking about?
I'm going to be talking about the history of merge games.
Okay. So would it be okay if you put like chapter marks in? So like.
Oh God. Okay. Oh, I have to get my thing out.
Chapter mark. Because you may just want to skip to your favorite section at this point because we know it's going to go off road. Okay. Alchemy. There are basically three types of alchemy. One, con men alchemists who are doing basically magic tricks with things like containers with false bottoms, and in order to convince people they could work real alchemy. Two, the scientist types who were actually dealing with questions of scientific or pre-scientific research, because this was before the scientific revolution, dealing with areas considering like how chemicals interact with each other and how to measure that and how to observe changes, things like that. A lot of them did a lot of really early work on medicinal drugs. And three, the spiritual alchemy, which is about like a pre-psychology internal transformation field. These three things were not separate. They were often stuck together so that the con men were like, oh, incidentally, I also figured out that, this is what happens when you set lead on fire. And a lot of the time, the con men were the ones spreading the information because they were the ones who had time to sit down and write books, stealing other people's ideas, condensing them, and recording them for posterity. So this is not to say that you should innately consider, if you're going into the field of alchemy just for fun, you shouldn't necessarily consider any of these people invalid. Okay.
But do remember, they are con men.
Some of them are.
Most of them.
No, some of them are.
Oh.
The ones that I looked it up.
Okay.
The thing about most of alchemy was that it stretched across multiple centuries, going from before zero, the year zero, so like pre-Christian era, all the way to like the scientific revolution, and then even further, and particularly in the area of spiritual alchemy. There are multiple threads of influences. Basically, Western people in the West interested in the occult took Hermetic magic, the math stuff that we've been talking about off and on about Giordano Bruno and the big wheels full of numbers and things, connecting like here is the planet Saturn and the zodiac system Taurus, blah blah blah.
And so, making mental libraries from there.
Yes, the weird mental libraries where you're going to figure out how to hack God. These connected to the alchemists, but are not necessarily the same people. They also included both chemical, spiritual, and con man tricks from China, from various Arabic and Turkic sources, and from Africa. Both Egypt and everywhere else. Like, dude, they were just sticking everything a hodgepodge together and going, Well, okay, so these guys with the big number wheels and the we're going to hack God by thinking really hard, they have a system. We don't have a system. We're hacking whatever we can get. The Gnostics tended to be more towards the alchemists than the people with the big memory wheels.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, which I thought was odd, but apparently was what I was running into the whole time. Um, so it's like the difference between witches and wizards. Wizards are like, give me the math, and witches are like, did it work? And for some extent, it did work, even if it was just fooling people.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I came up with 3 key examples of the different types.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, I'm bringing this one up because it shows up in various literary things. Cagliostro, which there's an early Gothic horror novel called The Castle of Cagliostro,
Mm-hmm.
and or no, sorry, I'm confusing that. Castle of Otranto is the one I'm thinking of. But there was like a monkey Studio Ghibli, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Before he did Studio Ghibli, he worked on some other stuff with Arsène Lupin. And one of the movies that he worked on was called Castle of Cagliostro, and I should have written that down and did not. Anyway, this is where the reference comes from. The guy was his birth name was Giuseppe Balsamo. He lived from 1743 to 1795. He claimed to be able to make the elixir of life and the philosopher's stone, and invented Egyptian Freemasonry.
Freemasonry?
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay.
Here's another rabbit hole. Freemasonry is one of the. It's actually a fairly broad category of including a lot of people.
Okay.
People of pretty much all Western religious faiths, at least, are in the Masons, which is a related group today. Freemasonry was about kind of the we're going to use occult tools to know God better group. They weren't necessarily trying to hack God, but they had definitely had some weird shit going on. The Illuminati are kind of like a weird bullshit offshoot of this.
Okay.
That come from, like, the Illuminati was like the actual Illuminati, the group, not the mysterious cabal, was like 1795, I want to say, in Germany. So Egyptian Freemasonry was this Cagliostro guy who renamed himself after his uncle. So it's sort of a family name, but yeah, his uncle was a count, so now he calls himself Count Cagliostro everywhere he goes. So he collects a bunch of different books, hacks them all together, and slaps the name on it of being Egyptian, because at least some of his sources were Egyptian. And some of his sources were about Freemasonry, which admittedly I don't know that much about, but it's like a quasi-religious order that's sort of Gnostic, sort of how to get in touch with God, sort of an offshoot of Christianity. And I really should know more about it, because I have a cousin whose dad was like one of my uncles was into it and like dragged my cousin to all the things. But I do not. Because of the time frame, it is definitely possible that Goethe, the German writer, his story Faust might have been influenced by Cagliostro and his downfall.
Sorry, I had a moment of, oh wait, that's not in my notes. That's in the wrong notes.
Oh no!
That's in the Eye of the Mouth and the Musket notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey. Incidentally, this dude ties back, because these idiots all like connected to each other. They're like, I could rip somebody off. This sounds pretty smart. Yoink! And accidentally preserved it for all eternity. Goethe was pretty cool though. But anyway, Faust, to sum up for people who aren't you, is the more or less original story about the deal with the devil. Okay. Our second example comes from earlier. He's one of the scientific ones. Roger Bacon, 1219 to 1292. He was an English monk. He was influenced by Hermetic magic. He tried to find the connection between science and the divine, but he also did very extremely practical things like give the first Western description on how to make gunpowder, which was a secret at the time. He was focused more on observation experimentation than theory or uh, like coming up with spiritual stuff or trying to fool people. He was like, of course it works. I will prove it. And proceeded to prove a lot of other things that were
not what he was
wanting to do. But anyway, smart guy. Third guy, the the more spiritual type, Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. From 1486 to 1535, he wrote 3 books called De Occulta Philosophia. They covered using the occult properties of herbs, stones, animals, and elements. The second one was about using talismans and sorry, the first one. Using the occult properties of herbs, stones, animals, elements, talismans, and sympathetic magic. Second one was about celestial magic, astrology, math, measurement. And the third book was about divine magic, angels, Kabbalah, and using the human soul to communicate directly with the divine. So we loop back to the whole how to hack God thing, but it's slightly different because they're not trying to do magic necessarily. They just want to connect to it. One of the early influential texts of alchemy was called the Emerald Tablet, which is a short bit off of, I think, one of these books, but I may be mixing that up because it's several days have passed since I wrote this down. It's an alchemical text. Supposedly it's inscribed originally on a tablet of emerald or jade, and is the origin of the law as above, so below, that is foundational to a lot of magic.
There's also in Welcome Home.
Sorry. The words on the emerald tablet were first recorded in Arabic on not emerald around the 8th century, even though supposedly it comes from much earlier. So the main structure of spiritual alchemy is what we're going to talk about following, because that's what's actually relevant to Homestuck. We don't need to know necessarily about conmans other than the sense of jesters or jokers. You're so cute when you do that. And we really don't need to talk chemistry. So we're going to talk spiritual alchemy. There are 3 main phases of spiritual alchemy. There is the black phase, or negredo, the white phase, or albedo, and the red phase, or rubido.
Oh, sorry. Side note: albedo is the name of a character in Overlord, the anime with the okay.
Yeah, that I saw a reference to that, and I was like, should I bring that up? I'm probably already packing this with too much trivia anyway.
Anyways, keep going.
Okay. For spiritual alchemy, the first phase, there's also a yellow phase. I forget what that's called, but it's kind of a minor slice. The first phase is negredo, is about taking everything that you have and burning it to ash, reducing it down to nothing. So there's a lot of rot, putrescence, filth, ash, coal, that kind of terminology around that thing.
Yeah.
On a spiritual level, it's when the horrifically bad thing happens. When you have a moment where it feels like you're dying, and that everything is getting burned away. There's a lot of fire involved in this whole process. Actual alchemists tend to connect actual chemicals and materials with this phase, and to actually perform experiments and rituals with physical objects. Like they will dump a bunch of stuff in an alembic and set it on fire. They won't be like, well, let me go to therapy. No. They're fucking doing it. So albedo is what you have left after the stuff has been burned away. It is more or less pure. but it is also very mixed up. And it's really cool to see the language around that because it's a lot of sorting. So when you get to a lot of fairy tales or whatever, you see a lot of themes about there's a huge pile of something,
Oh, okay.
and you have to have some sort of magical help to sort it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about that last week, or did we not? With
I
Vasilisa.
don't think
Okay, that
so.
might be this week. Days are getting confused here. Anyway, um, when we talk about fairy tales having segments where they're like, yes, and then the ants came and sorted out all the seeds for Cinderella. Be like there were lentils among the hearth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You have the black Negredo, and then you have the seeds, the value that has to be removed from it.
Mm-hmm.
On a psychological level, because people have reinterpreted this many times.
Yeah, I've been thinking, wow, this sounds a lot like it'll be used for therapy.
Yes, it is. It's. I'm going through this process right now. It is the process of going, is this me, or is this something that somebody else gave to me and
Mm-hmm.
brainwashed me into, or influenced me into thinking and treating as if it were real and coming from a source inside myself when it is not.
Mm-hmm.
So you get rid of all of that stuff, and what you have left is stuff that you can go, yes, this is me. Okay. And then there's a lot of images about moonlight related to this because it's a white state, but it's not an actual light. It's just reflected light is the metaphor there. Uh, let's see. One of the notes that I kept running into for albedo was the biggest threat during this phase is a false sense of clarity, where you think I have survived the horrible event that destroyed me. Obviously, my work here is done. Wow, I feel better. I want to live again.
This sounds a lot like one of your tarot cards is yelling at you.
It does, doesn't it? Okay, and then the third phase, the yellow phase comes between the white and the red phase, and it represents the rising of the sun and sudden bright illumination from outside of yourself. So, like connection to a divine nature of some sort, or from your own intuition if you're not like
Oh,
religious.
side note,
Mm-hmm.
is this related to the four humors at all? Because this seems like a lot like it would.
There's whenever you run into goddamn four things in Western civilization, it's all tied together. And if it was not originally supposed to be tied together, someone has tied it together. So
Okay.
they have backfilled it. So yes, it could be the four humors, it could be the four suits in tarot, it could be air, earth, fire, water. Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay. You're right. Sorry. Keep
Yeah,
going.
no, it just four things equals Western civilization.
Whee!
Like I could probably write a very large text on the number four. How will you know that stuff is connected? Because there are four of them. Okay. Anyway, the yellow phase is like the illumination of the sun. It sort of coincides with the sun card in tarot decks.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that comes rubido, or reddening. Um, uh, the feeling of rubido, I've never really anchored in this. Coming home to something you've been running from your entire life is apparently what that feels like. It's when you are able to take opposing opposites that seem to be logically separated, either or, and make them both and. A lot of the symbolism around rubido is a marriage of opposites where a person becomes both male and female.
Mm.
Also, the sunlight from the yellow phase is called gold, and the rubido period is when you figure out what you want to do with that in your real life. You have to apply it back to society and back to larger groups. You can't just keep it to yourself, otherwise you really haven't done your process. It's a false clarity. Something cool that I ran into was the final shape of whatever you do with the gold will come from working, not planning. So you don't sit down and go, what will I do with what I have learned? Let me apply that. you will try to do something with what you have learned. And by trying to do what you have learned, you will create something worth having. It's magic, so it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
The main tie into this in more modern times is a psychologist, Carl Jung. And he had a book about his libido process called The Red Book. I should probably have looked that up, but I just went, oh, The Red Book, yeah. Um, Apparently, everybody's actual internal psychological process is different and is supposed to be different because it is about making yourself a unique individual and not in a superficial woo kind of way.
I think he also did like psychology on dreams as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
So did Freud, but
yeah, but the
so
different
Carl
ways.
Jung and Freud actually knew each other, worked together, and like were influenced by the same woman who is crazy, but then ended up being a better psychologist than they were. I forget what her name is because, of course, I do. And like, there's a whole movie about it that was kind of BS, but also kind of I don't remember the name of that either.
Yeah.
Anyway, Freud and Jung, man.
Mm-hmm.
Two great tastes that didn't get along.
Okay.
And I think that's all I have for alchemy right now, unless you have something you want to poke me about. Like
Full Metal Alchemist. How does this tie back to that? Because
okay.
Sunfire mentioned or had a joke about that.
Okay.
And I was like, ha!
Full Metal Alchemist. Okay. So they are the premise of Full Metal Alchemist for alchemy is that well, it's more like the numbers and the wheel calculation things than it is like historical alchemy because they're not taking chemicals and combining them.
Mm.
They are using magical symbols and inscribing messages to the divine to channel the divine.
Mm.
So it's actually not much like alchemy so much as it is like angelic magic plus hermetic magic plus all this math and art of memory stuff.
This feels like it's an irony somehow.
I mean, having a bunch of people sitting around big pots and setting things on fire is just not dramatic. Where like having a glove, having inscriptions engraved on your palm is way more visible and fun.
Yes.
Or like Lieutenant Roy when he snaps his fingers and sets things on fire.
Mm-hmm. At least there is fire.
Yeah, but also it really like the whole series is about a spiritual ascendance where you go, I'm not here for the power, I'm here for the insight. I'm here to be myself.
So further shenanigans from there. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Go for it.
So
part 2.
This is the part of where we start talking about the merge history, which will probably not deal with alchemy history at all.
The merge game history?
Yes, merge game history.
Okay. The history of mergers and acquisitions.
No. So, first off, the specific type that I had been talking about last episode is not having a specific genre name. I'm mentioning this because puzzle genre names are fucking weird.
Yes, they are.
You're like, oh, everything's under puzzle, whether that be Sudoku and chess. And they're both puzzle, right? Right. And you're like, no, those are two different things. And so the best way to like come up with genre names for them is by choosing a specific one that's really popular and going from there. Like Tetris-like games or Sudoku-like games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a popular enough one for the ones that I like.
Okay.
Exactly. So they've mostly faded off into history of like being on Flash and stuff. And as everyone knows, Flash has vaguely been dropped to the wayside despite people's efforts of like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and use, I think it's Ruffle for a pseudo Flash thing that'll run Flash games. It doesn't always work the best, but
okay.
Yeah. Point being, there's been efforts, but the genre itself does not seem to be coming back in a flash or whatever. But so I had to look at other things that were surrounding the thing that I wanted to talk about.
Noted.
Yes.
Okay.
Before we get to further actual history, though, the game I had originally been talking about is called Mix-a-Monster. Will be putting the links to several things into the description on my side, so you can see videos of things that I'll be talking about, like Mix-a-Monster, the VR brewing game called Dungeon Brewmaster, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. There's also something I'll be talking about called Sue's Witch Magic Makeover, which will have a playable version as well. That one was in Korean, but was surprisingly well known and like is definitely in my thing. But boy, howdy, is it untranslated? And I went, oh dear God.
It's a well-built game. You don't need words.
Good luck. Oh, yeah. I had to look for a tutorial to finish it. I went, oh no, I'm terrible at this. Because you have to like double up on some of the things in there, and it's whack. Anyways, further shenanigans, there'll be things in the link.
Okay.
Some of the things I'd been looking at that were other surrounding things, they are not recipe games. You can't do that because that'll lead to general cooking genre games, including like Cooking Mama and Here We'll Follow a List kind of games. There is something called Doodle God games, which is another genre name, but is not in itself it's not categorized as an actual genre name. Everyone is like, oh, what kind of game is this? It's a Doodle God-like game, but no one ever actually says it like that kind of thing. It's stupid. Doodle God games are a lot closer to what we're looking for.
Okay.
But once again, not actually it.
Okay.
But we're now actually getting to the history stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, wait. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, nobody's come up with a name on this.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the research. What is? I think there's a window of opportunity here. What is the main game that you think of with this?
It's Mix-a-Monster.
Okay, so these are Mix-a-Monster like games.
All right, I will write that down.
Yay! Yes. We invented a genre.
Genre name.
I like big pots on you other alchemists can't deny.
Hello, Goodness.
With a mounting an itty bitty wren. I don't know. I can't do anymore.
So, history. The very first game that has ever been made is called Pong. This did not start off as officially Pong. It, in fact, instead started off in 1988 by William Higginbotham as him messing with an oscilloscope.
It's not 1988.
No?
No.
Oh, damn. All right, I fucked up my thing. Let's throw it all away.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I'll look up when Pong was, but
okay.
I was like, by the time Pong came, 1988, I was like playing Centipede and shit.
Okay, then I fucked up the time, but
it's okay.
William Higginbotham, oscilloscope, recreating the ability to play tennis on an oscilloscope via messing with knobs and stuff. After that was Tetris, released January 27, 1988. Yeah, I should have figured out I messed up the time there.
Pong is 72.
72, thank you.
Yep.
By Alexei Pajnatov. This is, I would say, the very beginning of matching games. Even if people didn't mention it in the thing that I was looking up, I was like, of course that would be the beginning of matching games. It's the most well-known of puzzle games, I would say. Or, yeah.
Fair. I don't know if you're right, but you're not wrong.
No. It's, if you have supposedly never heard of Tetris, there's lots of little oddly shaped blocks that come from the top of the screen, go to the bottom. You're trying to connect them in a line so that like you keep matching things over and over and over until eventually the screen fills up and you lose the game. Um, After that, in October 25th, 1991, is a game called Puyo Puyo, released in Japan and later in English via Sega. Sega, yes. It's the earliest found tile matching game. It plays a lot like Dr. Mario, if you've ever seen that. No. Um, it's basically looks like Tetris, except instead of the blocks being in specific sections, they're little colored dots and stuff, and the colored dots will fall to the ground and stuff when their original circle thing has like been removed.
What's it called? I have not seen this in my head.
Yeah, Puyo Puyo, spelled Puyo for both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I it's played like an arcade game, and I was like, this is the most darling game or darling characters I have seen in a very long time. And there's a character whose name is Satan at the very end, except our main character is like, Santa! He's like, no! Wrong! Kind of thing. And I was like, yes, this is delightful. So I watched it play through.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to blow this up to show people.
Yes. If you can see.
If you can see. There we go.
Anyways, that'll be in the description.
Okay, thank you.
After that, I would say is the Mix a Monster section with May 20th, 2011. That being released in platforms like Girls Go Games, Congregate, something called Y8, which I never knew before, blah, blah, blah. Those are platforms that do a lot of indie released or indie developed games, lots of Flash stuff back then. So things like easy puzzle games to make, like Mix a Monster, the Sue's Sue's Witch Magic Makeover, which also was 2011. Those kind of games happened around then. 2011, big time for the puzzle games up there. After that, merge games that we now know of, being here are 3 little objects in a row, you're trying to match that, and you get a result from there.
Okay.
Those started with the game called Triple Town, which was released December 6th, 2012, and it's still available now on Steam for $9.99.
That's spendy for an
I know.
Game.
Okay. I'm like, yes, this is a delightful game. Wow, I don't think it should be $9.99, but whatever, not my thing. The company's still making games. The most recent one was 2026 in July 15th for $19.99, a game called Cozy Grove Camp Spirit. I did not look further at that. I was like, oh, neat. All right. Triple Town, the thing that I was actually paying attention to, is a game where, yes, you're trying to combine 3 things in a row to evolve the item, being like, hey, I combined 3 shrubbery in a row to make it into a tree or something like that. The main difference from that to now is that you're making a giant town for yourself, and the little townspeople will interact with other things. So like they'll go off to the docks and bring supplies to a ship so that can sail off and get you more things, blah blah blah. And also there were enemies, which in this case were little bears and stuff, which would be like randomly placed across the board, and you had to like combine them as well as like a soldier or something like that to be like, wipe these out, and now I have the tiles open for me to be able to do things again with those tiles and stuff. There's also the beginnings of the energy system and money system. We'll talk about the energy system later. money system just being like, yeah, I'm gonna buy things, blah blah blah. The in general, um, I mostly know this game because like from through screenshots and stuff, because it looks a lot like a different game I used to play a lot when I was a kid called Bunny How We First Met. They're by the same company.
Okay, I remember you saying that name before, and I'm being like, what?
I know it is the silliest name, but boy howdy is it a name. We'll go with that.
You're not going to confuse it with something else. Got it.
Yes.
All right.
Bunny How We First Met is had a terrible time existing because A, it's a flash game, and B, it was on this server thing so that people could save and it would be saved in the cloud, except the thing that it was being hosted on died, and blah blah blah. Terrible time trying to survive, but it was a delightful game that people keep being like, where's the game?
Oh no.
Yeah. It is kind of available, but not through the original company. It's instead done by fans who are like, we are having this game, whether you like it or not. So you have to do things like getting Ruffle installed, going on to like kind of sketchy, but not all that sketchy as other sites. It could be going from there. And I'm like, well, at least it's available, but wow, is it a weird way to just try and play this board game. Anyways, past that, 2014, we have games like 2048, which another combination matching, except not really game. This one, you're trying to like have a giant cube or grid and have numbers on there, trying to mix them together to create a bigger number until eventually you get to 2048. When you mix everything, it slides all of the grid, so it's not like putting 3 items in a row and congrats, you have a thing. No, it's everything gets squished. I think.
I played a lot of 2048.
Yes, but that you're not everyone.
I know.
um,
I don't know that I could explain it better than that either.
After that, we have a game called Merge Dragons with an exclamation mark at the end. You've probably had advertisements for this if you have ever played a mobile game.
Yes, I have. Yes, I've seen it.
It was released November 12th, 2016, and I was like, wow, I thought that was released earlier. It's made by the same company that made 1010, which is a Tetris-like puzzle game, and Bouncy, which is a Pong-like game. Both of those games also have exclamation marks at the end of them, and I was like,
exclamatory games.
yes. They're the beginnings of actual 3 in a row merge games to be like kind of, I'm trying to get money specifically off of this. So there's a little in-store thing, that kind of thing. This is also when energy systems becomes a giant thing. Being like, hey, you have to wait X amount of time to be able to get this amount of playtime you're allowed to do, and then you have to wait some more to get some more energy, and blah, blah, blah.
Or you can pay us money.
Yes, exactly. Keep us money, they say. This is also the start of, if you've ever played a merge game, you'll see things that are like, here's a grayed out area that you have to unlock. This is the start of that, of like, you have to like get a specific level of evolve to have a reward to be able to unlock new areas to be able to play the game further, kind of thing. As a side note, I was like, wow, the art style has not changed much from 2018 to 2026. I was like, yeah, you could
At
just
all?
put that.
Oh, wow. Okay, a little
to
bit.
That.
Not much. Got it.
After that, on September 16th, 2020, we have Merge Mention.
Another game you've probably seen advertisements for.
Yes, specifically, their advertisements are the most well-known part of them because of how fucking weird their advertisements were, being like murder mysteries and all kinds of puzzles and you're next written on the hand, except that would change from like advertisement to advertisement to be different things written on that hand. And you're like, the lore here, it was so well known that like Game Theory, a well known YouTube channel for making weird theories on things like Sans is Ness from Earthbound as a game theory. That kind of thing. They're like, yes, we're gonna make a video specifically on the lore of these advertisements.
Not about the game, just the advertisement.
No, the game and the gameplay and the advertisements are two different things. There is no murder mystery in the game at all.
I've never played that one, so I didn't know. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
How disappointing.
Yes, everyone agrees on that. There's a sorry, this is a side note not involved in the notes. I think there's a they're trying to do now a reinvention of themselves to actually try and include the murder mystery into their actual game, but I have not actually gone back to play it and see if they actually followed through on that. Gameplay wise, there's like a central hub now of where you're trying to put specific items and you're able to click on items and get new items from there. So like a basket will lead into picnic items like food, water, blah, blah, blah. You have to do lots of click, 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 this kind of thing.
Yep. I played other games like this, just not this one.
Yeah. But otherwise, there's the merge area versus the exploratory area, which is the unlocking an area, like in this case, an actual mansion. You're just trying to wander around and clean up the mansion, that kind of thing, and have occasional K-drama-like instances happening inside of that mansion. So, except actual K-dramas are more interesting, I'm going to be honest. There's a huge drop in retention after a while with these kind of games. You're like, oh, there's going to be an interesting story, and then they don't follow through on that story, that kind of thing. After that is games like Gossip Harbor and things like that, which is pretty much the same as the merged mansion, except this time you're trying to open up a cafe, and you find are more like it feels more gimmicky more now than before and stuff. You're like, oh, here's the decline in quality and stuff. And that leads to now. That is the end of what we currently have for merge mansion games, or what I'm willing to look up and be like, oh dear God, I'm going to put myself through this kind of thing.
Okay, but all of this whole thread is kind of about mixing things to make something else, an alchemical sort of game.
Yes.
Okay.
You're trying to evolve things by combining them together to make something new and hopefully more impressive. So like a different game I played was making like pieces of dough into eventually turning that into bao and other further really good foods and stuff. You're like, I don't know how we first got here from like dough, but wow, is that some yummy looking food kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I played that one.
Yeah.
There's like, at one point it's soup. You're like, sure.
How did we get here? We don't know. There's now food. Yay! That kind of thing. But I would like you guys to, I guess, to play the ones that I actually am suggesting, like the Mix and Monster, that kind of thing. As I said, I will put links in the description for you guys. Play those and not the merge 3 things in a row thing, because those ones will just suck you up and you're like, why did I try? Why? Kind of thing. And that is what I have.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. All right. Actually, on to Homestuck now.
Chapter 3.
Can I drink some tea?
Yeah. We are on panel 2564. I have been swapping numbers this whole time. 2564. There we go. And we start out with a picture of Dave in front of, or behind a pile of Smuppet type things, and the instructions to stop being the other guy. And I went, so how far long ago was the stop being the other guy? We left on 2513 and jumped to 2564 for that. I'm not going to do this now, but I think it might be fun after we actually have gone through the entire thing to go back and see when the other guys or be the whatevers are and see if they actually all line up. That would be painstaking work. Probably somebody else has already done it, but it does actually. I'm pretty sure like that is something that will work out smoothly. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm
Okay, so I'm gonna go move to or do you have anything on here?
I do.
Okay.
Cool. So a rainbow of asses. Oh, would you mind plugging your ears for a sec on this?
I just want to say it's not a rainbow of asses. It's miscellaneous. Okay, here's plugged.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure there's at least a color for every potential troll, excluding gray. But there are at least like two types of red. Um, there's going to be several instances of this of being like there's pretty much a whole rainbow kind of thing. Um, I will point them out later. That's all we have to say for now. Good. Thank you.
You were talking loud enough that I was like doing.
Oh no,
doing the
I'm
thing
so
where you
sorry.
Like, no. I was doing the thing where you like grip inside of your ears, and it makes a little weird noise. and I was like, this also makes me want to yawn. Don't yawn. Too late. Okay. All right. Anything else I can hear on here?
Good to go.
Okay. Next one is a sound one, a long cutscene. Mm-hmm. Dave, ascend to the highest point of the building. Make sure my sound is off so it doesn't play while we're talking.
Same.
Okay, so the long animated scene of Dave going up to the rooftop, according to his brother's note to say it's going to happen. He picks up some of the Smuppets, trying to fill his empty Silodex slots, and then carries his sword and Lil Cal up with him. Meteors are raining down once he gets outside of the roof, destroying things in the background. Bro appears in silhouette, takes Lil Cal, and Dave has a little exclamation point on his head. Dave tries to find him. The things that Dave did with his slots are Puppet Pile, which tried to go into slot 6, and then but his nunchucks came up instead, and they turned into something red, and I wasn't sure what that was.
Oh, these two items should not do the same thing because otherwise it'll track the thing.
Okay, it's a block. All right. The next thing he tried was Muppet Buttock Mound. That worked. It was 0 and empty slot, and so he dumped them in there. Then you get the text that says acrobatic fucking pirouette somewhere in there, and I thought that was pretty funny. After we get Bro taking Lil Cal and Dave's trying to find him, we get to the word psych. Only it's not spelled psych, it's spelled psyche. And I have a whole big deal on that.
Okay.
I will let you go next though.
Yeah, let me say stuff before you go off into notes. Got it.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer-ish to a page that I was like, about, in a ow way. Not majorly ow, but like, not to be done yet in this episode, just okay. So as an aside. The music on this page is called Upward Movement, parentheses, Dave Owns, by Robert Blaker and edited by Andrew Huo. It was originally titled Dave fucking owns at this game. Versions of this will be used later in the Homestuck shenanigans as sort of Dave's theme. We've had notes on both Robert Blaker and Andrew Huo earlier, so I'm not going to talk about them.
Okay.
Then past that is me just talking about the Homestuck stuff. We get to see a girl in the garden with pumpkins, wayward vagabonds, etiquette book, rotting pumpkin in corner. You go.
Okay. Psych. There is a psych, and then at the end of Dave's section, and then there is the scene of the girl in the solarium with raised plant beds. Incidentally, the the garden thingies, the boxes, are on top of stacked clay flower pots. She's wearing a shirt with a blue atom on it, and there's a pumpkin with a bridge shape on it. The sky is blue with clouds and not the least bit apocalypse-y. And then we get, oh wait, X2 double psych out combo. But the psych is spelled with the E, so it's psyche out combo. Then we get the wandering vagabond and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
first,
so
psyche.
This is a bunch.
I'm so sorry. Say as though you didn't write it yourself.
So if you're going to say psych as in psych out, it's P-S-Y-C-H. Psyche is an immortal from Greek mythology. Greek and Roman mythology. The immortal wife of Cupid or Eros, depending on who you're doing, Greeks or Romans. Briefly, I ended up realizing that I only knew a very, very short abridged version of this tale. And so I'm going to give the fuller version because I was not familiar with the thing, and it connects back to other stuff that we talked about earlier today with the alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Psyche, beautiful human woman. Venus got mad about basically the dad talking smack about how his daughters were more beautiful than Venus. She decided to force her son Cupid or Eros to shoot Psyche with an arrow to force her to fall in love with a hideous man. Cupid sees her, falls in love with her, and arranges for her to become his wife, but her family all think she's dead. He only visits her at night and never lets her see him, so only in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
In the daylight, he is invisible. Her family, okay, this much I knew that. Her family comes looking for him, and he invisibly tells her that if she sees them, she's not allowed to acknowledge them. She gets pregnant, she gets depressed, and she stops eating. So Cupid finally allows the family to see her, but she can't tell them what's going on. Psyche lies to her sisters and says everything's fine, but her husband's not home. He works a lot, and he's a farmer. The sisters get jealous of the wealth that she's surrounded by and convince Psyche that she should look at her husband's face. But Cupid warns her that if she does, their son will be born mortal, not immortal. Honestly, I had no clue about this. She does it anyway because her sisters push her into it, and a drop of hot oil from her lamp wakes him, he's injured, and he flies away. The two sisters then try to get Cupid to marry them instead. Now, the way that Psyche was originally taken off with Cupid was she jumped off the top of a mountain, and a god named Zephyr, the west wind, picked her up and flung her over to where Cupid was. Mm. And so the sisters go to the top of the mountain, jump off, and die. Splat. Psyche, after her sister's death, goes on a search for Cupid. She ends up at a temple sacred to Demeter or Ceres, the goddess of harvests. She cleans it up because it's abandoned, and then she stops and prays to the goddess. The goddess says, Venus is mad at you, and I can't help you. Next, she goes to Juno and gets the same result. So the third thing that she does is she goes straight to Venus to beg forgiveness. She is met by Venus's handmaids, English translation on these words, habit, care, and sorrow. And they torture her, and then she gets beaten up by Venus herself and told she has to undergo a bunch of tests if she ever wants to see Cupid again. Mm. First, she has to sort grain. The grain gets sorted by help of the ants. This is where it connects back. 2, she has to retrieve golden fleeces from a forest full of immortal wild super sheep, the same kind of fleece that Jason and the Argonauts use. Mm. She is told by a mysterious voice to wait until after the heat of the day has passed because the sheep will be less violent then. And third, she needs to get a goblet of water from the river Styx. And she gets help with this last one by one of Jupiter's eagles. And I have a brief discussion here on the rivers of hell in Greek mythology. Okay, so rivers of the underworld. Styx is the river of hatred.
Yeah.
Archeron or Archeron is the river of misery or woe. Phlegethon is the river of fire or punishment. Cocytus is the river of wailing. Whoa. And Lethe is the river of forgetfulness.
Oh, no.
So this is how, if you're going to die, you have, and you want to pass into the underworld, you have to pass through one of these methods.
Okay.
And
I've only ever heard of Styx before, so.
yeah. So, but dealing with water of the river Styx is basically Venus was trying to get her to hate everything, including Cupid, so that she would just go away and leave her alone. One of Jupiter's eagles flies down and scoops up the water.
All of it?
No, just the cup that she needs to bring. After passing the test, Psyche was ordered to go to the underworld anyway, because that's not good enough. Venus never is happy, and get a piece of Proserpina's or Persephone's beauty. Just her beauty. Psyche follows advice from an unknown voice telling her how to get past the challenges of the underworld, like bringing coins for the ferryman and treats for the dog. There's a third thing. I can't remember what it is, and I didn't write it down because I'm an idiot. And then she gets to Persephone and asks for beauty, and Persephone's like, sure, put it in this box. And they put it in the box, and she takes it away. Of course, Psyche has to sneak a peek. Because she thinks if only she were a little more beautiful, Cupid would love her.
Oh, no.
The beauty turns into a black cloud that knocks her out.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, Cupid recovers from his injury and goes to find her, wakes her up, and tells her that she has to finish her mission. She does. However, this is not going to solve anything. Cupid goes to Jupiter and asks for help in exchange for helping Jupiter seduce somebody in the future. One free get laid card. Okay. Deal. So Jupiter calls this big banquet and forbids Venus from hurting Psyche and gives Psyche a drink of ambrosia, which grants her immortality. Okay. And there's a whole Gnostic tradition about this whole story, the long version. In the Gnostic version, Psyche spills her blood on the earth at some point, and that's where the first rose comes from, both beautiful and full of sorrow from the thorns. Okay, ambrosia is a drink, sometimes a food, but mostly a drink of the gods. It grants immortality. People who can eat ambrosia typically have ichor or ethereal fluid in their veins and not blood. So the blood spilled must have been before the whole ambrosia thing. There's a whole pre-Christian tradition of a lot of stories of people going down into the underworld or into the dark, usually but not always getting killed, and coming back to life with extra powers or coming to rule the underworld in some form or another.
Which Hades is like, stop that.
So tying this back to our alchemy, we're going to go all the way forward to spiritual alchemy and modern psychology. In psychology, Eros is considered the drive we have to live, the will to live. It is opposite our urge to die. And Psyche is the sum total of our mind, including all conscious and unconscious processes. Carl Jung defines Psyche as the totality of everything in the mind, and then, but soul is a subset of Psyche, and it is just one's personality. So if you stick those two things together, what you get is a story. Two things, as in the entire legend and modern psychology. What you get is a story that explains that our minds can be cut off from the will to live by studying it too closely, and that to regain it, you have to face the true nature of love, which is served by habit, sorting grain or using intuition, care, gathering wool, letting time pass, and sorrow, acknowledging but not actually touching upon hate. Even then, it will take a miracle to recover it, but if you do, part of you has become divine. Wow, right?
Yeah.
Neat. Okay, that was it.
Thank you. Thank you for adding that. That's neat.
Yeah.
Next page.
Yes, go ahead. Please talk for a while. I need a minute.
Sorry. Actually, I'm on 67, where we are making a joke, or try to make a joke, of Wayward Vagabond retrieving his arms, except, wow, he's already got them. He also has on his arm, his left arm, I think, right here, a square on it. It looks kind of like a chessboard, or a QR code, or if you zoom in real close on it, the Minecraft creeper face.
Oh my god. Yes, it does look like the Minecraft creeper face.
That is definitely not intentional, but wow, yeah. um, I did not look into QR codes because I was like, oh dear God, no, thank you.
I didn't either. I was like, I already have two big speeches. I'm out.
um, but that is mostly what I wanted to note on that page. Do you have anything, or should I go to the next page?
I have something about a larger sequence. Other than that, I mostly just have notes about what's on each page. Do you want
Okay.
to cover page by page, or do you want to talk about, like, do you
Uh,
want to describe vaguely what's going on, or do you want to have anything specific?
oh, I have specific things later on, but you're free to describe page by page, I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna go through. 67, he gets the arms. 68, he eats the rotting pumpkin. 69, he checks a little red bar under the Skynet logo with the atom in the center, and it's possibly a nuclear power device low on fuel. 70, the character or wandering vagabond reveals that he does not have a captcha log. 71, he picks up gravy. 72, tries to use his tooth to open the can. He fails. 73, he tries to open it with his hands. He fails. The text on that page refers to him having a black carapace, which is rigid enough, but he just doesn't have enough leverage or strength for it. So is he a beetle? I don't know. 74, he takes the beans. 75, he's told to take the can of custard, but the text corrects him and corrects the instruction that says it's mustard. He picks it up. His arms are now full. 76, he's told to examine the mark on his wrist, but means he drops all the cans. 77, the specialized barcode pattern. This brings back unpleasant memories, but he won't say what they are. 2578, he eats a potted plant. I went, no! 79, about half pages of the book in human etiquette are eaten out of the covers. 80, the book shows that silverware is the key to etiquette for meals. And I'm not sure whether he ate that page or not, but I don't think he did. 81, he clears the cans out of the purple machine. Beans, gravy, mustard, bread, shrimp, asparagus, cheese, rice, corn, peas, flour, chestnuts, mayo, ham, potatoes, squash. I don't know if that's all relevant. Tell me when you're ready for me to stop.
Oh, you could have stopped a while ago. I just was like, oh, there's some sequence here that I'm missing here.
Oh, okay. No, I do
Oh.
have an observation, but I didn't know how far you want me to go.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go through my side then and give you time to just pause, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
When we get to 82, I'll bop you.
2568. This is the first what pumpkin joke because yes.
Oh, thank you.
Uh-huh. Um, because he's eaten the pumpkin, and I was like, also, what a terrible idea to eat that thing. He turns his head to eat the pump. He turns his head to look where the pumpkin he had just eaten previously had been, and burps also in the pumpkin's moldy orange color. Um, so I went off to looking at pumpkins to see when they would rot. Whole uncut pumpkins apparently last 8 to 12 weeks, which is about 2.7 months, in a 50 to 55-degree Fahrenheit room, and where it collapses in on itself. This does imply, though, that the pumpkin itself isn't as old as years, which a sealed room might imply in the middle of the desert. Um, since it's holding its shape decently, I'd say it's around 3 to 4 weeks, where mold starts to happen and it starts to soften and sag. Kind of thing. Yes. 2569. It's interesting. Oh, sorry. Let me look at what that page actually is. Boop, boop. This is the red bar page. It's interesting that Wayward Vagabond's first thought on what type of power this would be is nuclear power and not, say, solar power. He both knows energy types and knows enough to have an idea of what this energy type would likely be in this situation. This means that the knowledge is not completely destroyed by time, unlike what the etiquette book is somewhat implying of that being a useless skill to know, and as such has been forgotten. Um, 2570, this is the Wayward Vagabond not knowing what a capture log is. I'm cataloging this as both another look at the whole knowledge being give and choose what's going to be remembered thing,
Mhm.
um, because this is also another tick I'm going to say for my previous theory I've had that capture logs are semi new technology and as such not well known in the psyche enough to be passed down like different types of energy was. Um,
I
yes?
want to pause on this page when you have a sec.
Okay,
I have
let
a terrible
me
joke.
finish this for a sec. Um, this type of technology also potentially wasn't picked up by whatever species Wayward Vagabond is, because he's not human, as we can tell via the carapace stuff. You go.
This is a sci-fi joke. You're not going to get it. I'm so sorry. It's not a canticle for Leibovitz. It's a capsulog for Leibovitz. Thank you.
Yes, I did not get that joke.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Um, Let me see. 2572. Give me a small sec. This is the page where Wayward Vagabond is trying to bite into the can with his pathetic little teeth. Um, Pathetic, I say. No. Um, so Wayward's Vagabond is potentially a more herbivorous one because his teeth are majoritively flat and doesn't have canines.
Mm-hmm.
So he would be kind of goat like, I would say. But apparently, I looked into this, goats do not actually eat metal for like cans and stuff. They're instead chewing on the labels and glue on the can and not the metal itself. I just was like, wild. Okay, that is a myth buster for a lot of things, like in Gravity Falls, a goat is eating a can or whatever in there, and that is apparently a lie.
Yeah.
Lie, I tell you.
Lie.
They do chew on things out of curiosity, though, apparently.
Yeah.
Yes.
And boredom.
Yes. 2573, this is the page of where Wayward Vagabonds talking about having a carapace. Which I looked up is an upper part of an exoskeleton. Further shenanigans from there that I was like, I just don't get it, whatever. But they're seen on things like crustaceans, like prawns and shrimp, zooplankton, like water fleas, arachnids, like scorpions, and turtles and tortoises, apparently. A wider variety than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily that he's bug-like, but more than likely, knowing Homestuck, he is probably bug-like.
Okay.
What page is it that you were wanting me to pause on?
Keep going.
Okay. My next thing is on 2576. This is the Wayward Vagabond dropping all the cans because I was like, yeah, fair. Or to look at the QR code on his arm, I believe. He's dropping them because, you know what? Whatever. If you're going to do a thing with your hands, you have to do it with your hands, and you can't carry cans at the same time. Blah, blah, blah. 2577. Give me a sec to go onto that page. 6, 7. This is the closer look at the QR code, which is actually a barcode pattern on his arm. It's specifically called a sort of specialized barcode pattern, which implies that there's generalized barcodes and that Wayward Vagabond needs a specialized one. Also, it's kind of bringing up thoughts of Nazis, I will say that. Yeah. Side note, in Japan, there is a band that uses grocery scanning tools to make music. They will also use it on things like CRT monitors and fans to make music, which I will be including that in the description. Yes, don't worry. 2578, what plant? This is the page of where he eats the little plants. And we can also clearly see that Wayward Vagabond is not, in fact, Wally, which was released June 23rd, 2008. So, yes, that might have been the joke here. 2580. This is the page where we get to see the etiquette book page being like, yes, we're eating things and it's so polite, blah, blah, blah. The page has pointy teeth on it, unlike Wayward Vagabond's flat teeth. This would imply that it's whatever's the pointy teeth one is carnivorous versus wayward vagabonds, herbivores, and that they're two different species.
Okay.
2581. Give me a small sec. I'm just gonna type it in at that moment. 81. He's cleared all of the cans out of the purple machine. This is being the what you were saying about the mustard, blah blah blah. I'm not sure why, but I have insert joke about I have no mouth and I must scream here. Let me look at the actual page to see what it says.
Oh, I don't know about the game, but the actual story of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is they get the cans, but they don't have a can opener.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Okay. That's exactly what I was joking about.
Okay. And then this is the point where I want to interject something. Okay, so this far in the sequence, the purpose of this sequence seems to be, what if the characters did not have cartoon and or video game physics on their side? Where Wayward Vagabond has his arms because he can't not have his arms. Like they're just under his robe. That's it. Whereas the other characters just don't have their arms drawn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it amused me greatly when I got to this point, and I was like, oh my god, that's the joke. That's the joke. That's why this is funny, is because we're missing something, and that something is
cartoon physics.
Like, you don't realize how much you rely on it until it's gone. Anyway, that was it for a while. If you want to take over, go right ahead.
You got it. 2583. Boop, boop. This is a point of where he is holding up a red shard thing, which turns out to be the red mailbox arm swing flappy doodads that let you know that mail is inside of the mailbox. Except we've previously disproved that's not actually what they're used for. And I was like, it all comes back to a John joke. Everything is a John joke. Or all is a John joke or something, I said there. Next page.
Wait. I have something for this one.
Yes.
It kind of points to the idea that wherever Wayward Vagabond is based off a version of Earth. That's it.
Okay. 2584. I should probably look at this page, actually. The command here is be the imp. And I was like, wait, as in the imp that jumped off the umbrella when we were on John's section, and he was like, oh no, be the imp kind of thing. And he just fled. And I was like, what? Okay, sure, whatever. I guess we're mentioning that maybe someone made the wrong command here. And Huzzy was like, sure, I guess we'll go with that. But also, this does imply that, like, since Wayward Vagabond does not know what an imp is, that he calls them something else. And B, he probably, like, has seen them on John's side, but just does not know what to call them in general. They may be called something else for him.
He hasn't been watching John for a while.
True, but there's been, like, in the background at least, because...
Yeah, but it's been a while since, like, John had not yet had his first encounter with the imp the last time he gave the commands to John. Yeah. Like, oh, tally ho then, young Earth thingy.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think he's at least seen them in the background.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, it's on, but he's like, oh yeah, I haven't looked at this for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I also went be the imp. He can't be the imp because there are no cartoon physics, no video game physics, so he can't switch. You know, once you jump into this character, you can't just jump right the back.
Shenanigans must happen.
Yeah.
Got it. You good for me to continue?
Yes, thank you.
2585. He's making the beginnings of Cantown. We are returning to making forts, the true meaning of life.
Nice.
Thank you. Also, there's a Cyanide and Happiness comic that reminds me of this, because the cans are making up both the citizens and the actual town hall. the joke in the cyanide and happiness joke is a gingerbread man who's living inside of a gingerbread house, and he doesn't know if he is made of the house or the house is made of him. And I was like, it all comes back together, I guess. I have the comic here if you want to see that.
No, link to it later.
Yes.
Okay.
Next page, 2586. Our dearest wayward vagabond is imagining real hard about him being the mayor of Cantown. This reminds me of a side story in the sort of a game Edith Finch. I won't say much on that because Dee hasn't played it yet, and I was like, Dee will definitely like this kind of thing. Okay. But it involves a guy who, well, this specific side story.
Do I need to stick my fingers in my ears? Would that help?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Go for it.
There's a guy who's unhappy with his boring life at a fish beheading factory. So he imagines himself in a reality where he becomes king and gets immersed in the story. A little too much. I won't say further past that. All right. Good to go.
Okay. There we go.
Yes.
All right.
2587. We have Wayward Vagabond lore. He hates kings. He just fucking hates them.
Okay, I have a note for this.
Yes.
The crown on top of his head is a standard chess piece model.
Yes.
Which comes up in a minute.
Burp. 2588. Here we find a can of gas/oil, chalk, amber, an ambered firefly that's still alive, and uranium. I did not look much into these, but I did find out that they are corresponding to each, so far we have seen, kid of the human variety and stuff. Yes. I will not say which is which because that will give you specifically spoilers because you're the type to think further on that.
Thank you. Like I can probably guess now anyway, but I'll leave it alone.
2589. He eats the uranium. And I said, well, uranium sort of has 20 billion calories, kind of. But I'm not actually going to look into the nutritional level because, well, it would kill a normal person to do that, and we're just going to leave that be. Also, I don't know what to look up to find out why it's zapping him as he eats it.
It's not zapping him as he eats it. It's zapping him as he burps.
Oh God. Yeah. All right. Anyways,
so it's just radiation because that's what you burp up when you eat uranium, apparently.
Oh, it's like an X-ray or something. Mm-hmm. That's where you can see the inside. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a special effect for.
Yeah. 2590. This is the page of where he eats chalk, and I said, "Is this why Dee was telling me that like chalk is non-toxic generally?"
Hey, this is my note.
Okay, have at it.
Okay.
She stood in the side to me, and I was like, "Oh my God, have at it."
Chalk is made of calcium carbonate, which is the same thing that you get in a Tums, an antacid. And most chalk, especially that marketed for kids, is called non-toxic, so that people don't freak out when the kids eat non-toxic chalk and it settles their stomach. Okay. And the colors he eats are green and green.
Just like the uranium.
Yep.
Would you mind plugging your ears in for a second?
God damn it.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
12 trolls, 12 things in a box, but it's not color corresponded. But I did find a troll patron calculator, which I will link as well. I got Gamzee and I was like, I don't understand, but sure, let's go from there. Okay, good to go.
Okay.
2591. The chalk's out of order compared to the front of the box. Let me open that page.
Let me go back.
Yeah. Because I am not opened on that page.
Okay, what do you mean by out of order compared to the box?
So, if you can see, there's the yellow there, and there's the red there, and there's purple there, and the thing there.
They're not supposed to line up.
I know. I just was like, hee, they're out of order.
Okay.
Um,
You're a very organized person.
yeah, whatever. I'm here to notice the thing. I noticed the thing. Shut up. um,
It's sort of right, though.
yeah, but it's just slightly off kind of thing.
Purple, yellow, pink. Oh, I went too far back. Purple, yellow, pink, orange, green, blue. Orange, green, blue. It actually does line up, but just for the front row.
All right.
All right.
Shenanigans.
It does line up. It's right there.
I failed my mission.
I'm still laughing about it. There are 12 pieces of chalk in every color of the 10 pieces of chalk in most colors of the rainbow. Like that and the uranium are my two favorite panels from this time.
Yeah, that's fair. My next thing is on 2594, where I said, I'll be honest, it's a surprise that Wayward Vagabond did not try and eat both the oil and the amber, or at least gnaw on them.
R?
Yeah.
R?
Next thing I have is 2596. And this is where Wayward Vagabond is drawing up the streets for Cantown, and he makes blue trees instead of, like, A, there's no green because he ate them, but also because, side note, he may just generally eat green things because the pumpkin had a green top on it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, instead of, say, red or yellow trees for, like, autumn trees or something, which would be normal human color trees, but once again, a difference in possible worlds or whatever. But Wayward Vagabond also knows how to abbreviate correctly types of street names. So, like, a boulevard is correctly abbreviated.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yes. That is kind of cool.
Oops.
Can Street, City Hall, Can Parkway, Can Boulevard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We can grow.
97. He's putting down checkerboard pattern for chess and whatever. Blah, 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 blah. I was, like, thinking about how there's the whole zoning of commercial versus residential, blah blah blah. I was wondering if that would work actually in Sim City or Skylines, and I don't play those types of games, so I'm not sure. But I would be vaguely interested in messing with that as a challenge or something.
I have something to know here.
Okay.
Read this exactly. You develop westward, settling these fertile plains and claiming them for your city. You section off a number of residential and commercial zones for civic growth, arranged in the only logical pattern that occurs to you, checkerboard. You color the residential zones with your piece of white chalk, but for some reason, none of the colors in the box strike you as suitable for the commercial zones. Perhaps there is an alternative. There is a word missing from that. Okay. And that word is suburb.
Oh.
This is a world without the word suburb in it. So I went, don't do it. Don't invent them. It's just going to lead to the end of the world again.
It's the end of the world as we know it. All because of suburbs.
Okay.
Anyways. Sorry, I just realized something I'm not allowed to say to you. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
Do I need to put my fingers in my ears yet again? This will not be the Alchemy episode. This will be the fingers in ears episode.
No, okay, don't worry about it. I'm just going to leave that be.
Right.
My next thing is on 2600, finally the 2600s. This is where he is finally attaching the Mayo-R to his sash to become the mayor. As
dun,
dubbed.
dun, dun.
That's all I had on that one.
Nope. He as the sash is just a bunch of dangling wires that have been there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
602. I'm ignoring many things, but I will say, for spoiler reasons, that we see that Wayward Vagabond ran out of his first blue sky color and had to switch to a different sky blue color. So it makes a nice little gradient and stuff for the whole thing. But also, his first blue he dropped on the ground, and we can see that on his feet.
And it broke.
Yes.
Broke them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me see.
I have 602, smiley face. 603, double smiley face. 604, triple smiley face.
uh, I'm gonna make my ignorant person notes. 602, the sky and clouds on the walls. One wall has a black hole, another wall a luminous planet with a single moon. 603, further out on the wall with a black hole, there's a volcano planet, one with gears and or fire, a Skynet logo, question mark, and the black hole. So that's the order that they're in. 604, are you ready for that or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Past that, the sky turns dark, and there is a bunch of stuff covered with motor oil, and there's a dark planet with a single moon. The background is purple. Oh, God. Sorry, it slid away from me. The screen with John is in the corner.
Green check mark, you click on that, it'll go away with the thing.
We can do that later.
Okay. Yeah. 605?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 605, the monitors are set up in the house symbol of the spurb again. House.
Oh, yeah, it is. Wow.
My next thing is on 608.
Wait. I have something on this one. The text says, "Oh yeah, it's that guy. You had almost forgot about him and his confusing shenanigans." So he has not been participating in whatever's going
on. 608. This is the tab page, unless you have things to say before that.
Nope.
Okay. Tab, or TAB tab, is indeed a real drink. It was introduced in 1963 and was later discontinued in December 31st, 2020. It's from the Coca-Cola Company as a diet soft drink, their first ever apparently. In 1970s, it used saccharin, which causes bladder cancer in rats, but there's no actual connection with humans, so it was fine to leave in there or whatever. And in, I think it was 2012, that it had a resurgence in popularity, probably because of Homestuck.
Tab. The popularity declined after the introduction of Diet Coke in 1982. Before 1982, it was everywhere.
Okay.
And the word is saccharin, not saccharin. It's actually a word for cloying sweetness. He has saccharin tastes. Like why you called that? I don't know why you called saccharin. I don't know. I didn't look at it, but anyway, go for it.
My next thing is on 613. Here we get to see all of Wayward Vagabond's commands to John, and his switch from caps locking and etiquette eating. So we have a giant timeline of that.
So the last comment is, I shall take my leave now, John, until next time. So it's quite a ways back. I did not look and see how far back that was because I wasn't having that conversation with you yet.
Yes. Oops.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm doing
something on the next page.
How about it?
No. You go first. This is a joke.
Okay. My next thing is on 15, so I think it's generally as you.
Okay. So on 13 or 14, sorry, the text says he scrolls up, but he has no mouse. I have no mouse and I must scroll. He probably just used an arrow key. We get to see additional commands. They are in order: home, view, switch 2, switch 3, switch 4, switch 1, esc, lock room 3, pass, and then a row of asterisks, view, reboot. At the top is the SBURB icon. So this program is related to SBURB, possibly a command line interface server. It doesn't look like the server side, and it doesn't look like the client side. This is a third thing. The things that are at the top, Wayward Vagabond says they look like a list of commands, as in a helpful list, but it's really a list that was entered. Home loaded the screens. View switches to the view of the different cameras. And ESC appears to switch back to the command line interface version that we're seeing now. Switch switches between view screens, and apparently when you opened up, it was on 1 because they had to switch to 2, then 3, then 4, and then back to 1 again. So the default is switch 1. So while we are in John's screen, switch 1, we have lock room 3, pass, and then a pass, and then a series of asterisks.
Which is probably password.
Yeah, it probably means Dad's room at John's place, or John's view, since the last switch was to screen 1, and that's what the screen is on now. So room 3 is password locked. Reboot. What did that part do?
I have no idea.
My best guess. The first official panel starts with John standing in his room saying it's his 13th birthday. Something went so horrifically wrong with the previous game, and seeing room 3 too early caused it. Conclusion.
Okay. I will not say anything pro or against that.
All right. And then I'm on 2615.
2615. We get to see the giant evil wizard that's in Rose's place, except it is slightly changed. It in fact looks more banged up since the last we saw it, with cracks and stuff. 216, we get to see Dave's area, except things are like not what we last left on. Oh God, words. And specifically, there is a crow sprite, and Lil Cal has been ripped apart, literally rip. And I don't feel bad about that, I will be honest here. So we can safely say that there's time shenanigans going on between the 3 different monitors that we've so far seen. They're on different times.
Okay. Another note on John: his katana has been snapped off.
Or Dave.
Sorry, on Dave. His katana has been snapped off, and on the ground near the top half of locale is a burning piece of some sort of firecracker or explosive there.
Oh,
that's that red
yeah.
bar there. And
so
then,
it gets used at least.
Wayward Vagabond says, you consider switching to screen 4, but decide against it. You have a feeling that whatever's there would just confuse you even more. You don't even really care all that much anyway.
Mood.
Yeah.
2617. A 413 countdown. Doom.
Yep. And I stopped here because if you get a countdown and you've been doing this for a while, you're like, yeah, that's a sign.
Mm-hmm. It is time to be left off as a oh God, I can't remember. Cliffhanger. That's words. Wow, words are not working well with me today. Doom. So, anything you want to make note of?
I'm really pleased with myself that I observed that, like, the Wayward Vagabond's shenanigans were driven by no game physics.
Yes, I completely missed that. Good catch on that.
I think it means that this is a real place.
Oh.
Or could be a real place, because we're not seeing game mechanics. He's looking at game mechanics, but he is not himself doing any game mechanics.
I am not allowed to say anything on this. I'm so sorry.
All right.
I wanted to say things, but I cannot.
Okay.
I've had so many instances in this episode of being like, I'm wanting to say things, but I should not.
And so many instances of me going,
bah, bah, bah. Yeah. Shenanigans abound, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think this episode has led to a lot of me having small realizations that I will probably forget and then be like, later about.
I realized this back then, but I couldn't tell you, and then I forgot. Yeah, sure you
did. And I'll be like, wait, no, I can tell in this specific episode. I can go to this page. Yeah,
no, by the time we get there, you can be like, I could tell you if I could figure out what page it was on.
Yeah. I'm not going to make note of it either. It's for future me to be like, God damn, you passed me about, and then make jokes further from there.
Okay, fair enough.
Time shenanigans of our own. Hey.
Hey.
And not me being in the river of forgetfulness, whatever that was called.
Lethe.
Lethe. Me in the river of Lethe. We're best of friends. It's making me forget words, I guess.
Maybe.
What are we talking about again?
Okay, so if any soul was able to leave hell, the underworld, they were supposed to go through Lethe, so they couldn't remember the life that they had just lived. It's like if they're going to get, like this soul was going to be reborn or something like that, which doesn't happen that often, but occasionally did. Yeah. I'm trying to remember anybody who did, but I can't think of anybody right now.
Yeah, most of my knowledge on those kind of myths and stuff is both from I guess vaguely Percy Jackson shenanigans, then the Lore Olympus comics, and then just general vague knowledge you get on the internet stuff. So
a lot of my knowledge of this comes originally not from Greek myth, because I started reading Greek myth after this, but from a Piers Anthony series.
So shenanigans from there. Got it.
Incarnations of Immortality, a not unconflicting author for sure. There's a lot of inappropriate stuff there, but and very Gen X, very well. He's a boomer, but very much those were different days, yada yada yada.
Yeah,
BS thing. But that's why I remember most of this. So I was like, oh yeah, I remember
that. Okay.
I should look this up. Cool. That's just like in the Piers Anthony book.
And further from there, as previously mentioned, talking about Faust, or while we were talking about Faust for a minute there, I've been doing a lot of research on I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which you already know about, but they don't. There will be a video later, not just about I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, but specifically the digital circus when eventually we get that far.
Yep.
I am at this point vibrating to talk about I Have No Mouth on my screen because I have written too many goddamn words on it.
You're like, how many now?
18,000. 18,000 words, and that's a
small book. Or not a small book. I guess that's a small novel, a short novel, a very long short story.
I have to condense it down to be things that are like actually usable for you for your own note stuff. Because I first started this whole thing just so that Dee would not have to play the game after she did the short story thing.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I hate the people in the short story. I cannot do the game stuff. And I was like, okay, I think you need the game stuff, but it's fair enough that you don't want to play it after reading the short story kind of thing.
And in some ways, the game is worse.
Yeah. There's a cut content in the game of one of the characters eating a baby kind of thing. It's cut content for a reason. But boy howdy would it have been easy to see it being included in the game kind of thing. So I just was like, noted that in the notes and went past it before actually watching the thing. I just was like, no, I don't need to see that, thank you kind of thing. Okay. But anyways, need to A, shorten down the notes for you, and B, put in more screenshots, because I was eventually, towards the end, I was like, wow, some of these rooms you need to actually see to be able to save things about, and I did not include that in Gorster's section level, because I was like, just going specifically on word stuff, and I was like, but wait, that would be important for this, so I do have more things on that, and I'm like, no! Anyways, I'm gonna shut up now. Thank you.
Get back to the point.
Point being, wow, there's going to be further things in the future. Wow, my brain is tired. Anything else you want to say?
We will probably take the week off from Homestuck when we go to put this together, because it's like we have a lot more work to do, or at least I have a lot more work to do, and it's already taken a huge amount of time. Yes. So we may switch over here fairly soon. Okay.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Make on random notification.